Performance Max campaigns are terrible for e-com brands who have multiple traffic sources. And here's why. They directly correlate with top-line revenue. If you take a screenshot of your Performance Max campaign revenue attributed, and you superimpose that with your back-end revenue numbers, you'll notice that the dips and the peaks directly correlate. Meaning that if revenue dips, Performance Max results typically dip as well. So this means that either Performance Max is directly responsible for your revenue, or Performance Max is falsely attributing the revenue, as this relationship is bidirectional. Is our revenue dipping, which causes Performance Max attributed revenue to dip, or is it Performance Max performance dips, which leads to a revenue dip? Which direction does this relationship exist in? Typically, it's the latter, which means that as top-line revenue dips, Performance Max results dip. Why is this the case? We've found that Performance Max heavily over-attributes due to heavy retargeting of existing customers and existing visitors. So it gives you the false assumption that PMax is driving the results of your business when it really isn't. Now, as an agency, this is actually even worse on our end. And the reason for that is that if a client, for example, was to stop running a PR campaign, or they would have stopped sending EDMs for a month, what we actually end up seeing in platform is Performance Max results dip. And the reason for that is that when they were running that PR campaign and they were driving new traffic to the site, Performance Max was just going to scoop up all those users, retarget them across all platforms, and then claim the purchase if they did buy. Now, did Performance Max have an impact in pushing that customer down the customer journey and enticing them to actually buy? Probably. But is Performance Max responsible for attributing 100% of that conversion to the platform? Definitely not. Maybe it had a 10% influence, maybe a 20%, maybe a 30% influence, but definitely not 100% credit for that revenue and for that conversion. And that's why indexing towards MER and acquisition MER is so much more important than indexing directly in platform, but that's obviously for a whole nother video. In this EDM instance, every time you send an EDM, watch your metrics on both Facebook as well as Google Performance Max. What you'll see is every time you send an EDM off, ROAS spikes across all platforms. And the reason for that is that these users that you're sending EDMs to are getting retargeted by Google display ads, Google YouTube ads every single day. They're also getting retargeted with Facebook ads every single day. And so the second they purchase through an EDM, all these platforms just claim view-through conversions and then get the conversion attributed to them. The same for Performance Max just serving on brand. If there's a super high intent user that's just been sent an EDM, they might get served a brand search ad as they go searching for the brand, and that will then get scooped up within PMax. So if they stop sending EDMs, we see Performance Max results dip. Performance Max ends up just being a direct reflection of everything else in the business. So internally at the moment, we're doing a shift back to shopping campaign builds. Now, that's not to say that there's not a position for Performance Max within the wider context of an account. They are great for retargeting. They are great for providing that 7, 20, 30 different touch points with the end user to push them through the funnel. The issue is that they're simply too reliant on external traffic sources and fluctuations in other marketing avenues. If there is an account that there's a heavy investment into, for example, Facebook, and Facebook performance dips, CPMs go up, which causes a 30% reduction in top-line traffic, then all of that 30% of traffic is no longer getting retargeted across Google, is no longer pathwaying into brand search, and so Google results seemingly dip immediately. And so it becomes very hard to make any degree of optimizations or improvement on the Google platform if the primary campaign that you're using, its results, its core performance KPIs are directly influenced by purely external factors. So to be able to make educated decisions and changes within the confines of the Google Ad platform, you really need to be looking at implementing a degree of shopping campaigns so that you can start to gear towards new customer acquisition. Side note, most agencies won't actually end up doing this as it's so complicated to relay what I've just gone through to account managers and then communicate that to clients that it simply isn't worth the effort. Particularly if Performance Max is already attributing a really good ROAS because it scoops everything up. Why bother going down the route of optimizing for new customer acquisition and getting more granular control within the campaigns.